We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a live edition of Vikings Uncensored. We are reaching critical mass here as far as the NFL season goes, even though it is still early. We have currently the 0-3 Minnesota Vikings traveling to Carolina to take on the 0-3 Carolina Panthers. Good evening, Doc. Good evening, Dave. Doc's getting a puppy. Sweet. What kind of puppy, Doc? Puppies always take precedence over everything else. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about here tonight as we lead into this ever critical Sunday noon matchup in Carolina. Boston. Nice. But we got a few news items we're going to hit first, a few things to talk about. Then we'll get into the preview and predictions later on. And, of course, we will take your questions, your comments, your concerns, your rants, your whatever, and we will discuss them on here live. Dave, who would you rather see, Young or Dalton? From what I heard this afternoon, it is going to be Bryce Young, which honestly I think we're probably going to match up better against. Andy Dalton seems to have had our number the last few years.
Yep.
So now the only thing with Bryce Young is he might be able to hide behind his offensive lineman because since he's literally like 4'6". But yeah, I mean, coming off an injury and only his third start, I think I want to take my chances with Bryce Young. I'm glad we're catching him now instead of week 12, week 15, where he's probably got stuff figured out a little bit more than that. Yeah, I want to face Bryce Young, I guess, because I never like our chances against Andy Dalton because whether he was with the Bears, whether he was with the Saints, all that other stuff, he's always played well against us for some damn reason. Yeah, Dave always played out of his mind against us.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, a few Vikings news items to start off with. On Tuesday, the Vikings released running back Myles Gaskin.
For the 80th time.
Yeah, and then brought him back to the practice squad, leaving an open spot on the roster. Yeah, so what you got any ideas or hot takes there on that, Lance? What's going to happen?
A real spicy hot take, and it might be just taking the bait, but maybe Akeem Hicks, maybe. We're scraping the barrel here, for real.
Yeah,
but I'd be okay bringing Akeem Hicks in, to be honest.
I would too. I know I made a comment on the X-Files, the social media site formerly known as Twitter, earlier in the week when on Tuesday when Gaskin got released, about, okay, Kwesi, what kind of move you making? Or somebody commented, okay, what's the move coming here? And I
Yeah, Hicks.
I made the comment Akeem Hicks, and then somebody replied to my comment, tagging Akeem Hicks and asking if he was coming. Now he's been. Good evening, Raymond. How are you doing?
Ray.
Happy Friday. Now Hicks has been kind of flirting back and forth with Vikings Twitter, so but he never responded to that. So is there smoke in that one? I don't know.
You know what though? Honestly, Rhino, and it's saying a lot coming from me and you that we're wanting to bring in this, veteran defensive tackle, because any other defensive tackle that we've discussed on this show prior, we have never really been high on. But Hicks wants to come here. It appears that he does still have something left in the tank. But yeah, that something needs to happen, because as I was watching the game, you guys haven't had my take yet on the game, but as I was watching the game, it's mind-numbingly frustrating when our interior of our defensive line gets absolutely no penetration whatsoever. We're always getting stood up and pushed back, and that shit has got to stop.
Yeah. The only interior defensive lineman so far that's done anything really is Harrison Phillips, and he
hasn't done much of anything. He's been average.
No, but I mean, when you look at Dean Lowry, he's on the nothing. I looked at his stat line the other day. He has like 2 tackles for the entire year, and that's it. No hurries, no pressures, nothing. Ja'Kalen Roy got a few snaps last week, but didn't really stand out in the limited time. My worthless opinion. Good evening. Happy Friday.
Marcus Davenport's about as bad as fucking, what's his name? Brett fucking Jones from a few years back. Is he even on the team?
Yeah. Marcus Davenport is Sasquatch 2.0.
Yeah.
There has been more sightings of Bigfoot in the last month than there has been of Marcus Davenport. Now, I guess he is practicing on a limited basis as of the injury report today. Same with Garrett Bradbury.
It's also frustrating because, I mean, this is kind of petty, but if you ain't going to play, give Zero to fucking pace.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Well, Zero is fitting right now because he has had zero impact on this team other than eating up significant cap space.
True. And yes, Lowry's been a huge disappointment. Is he even on the team either? I don't know.
Yeah. Other than that, cornerback Juwan Williams, who we had in our practice squad, got poached by the Bears, so he is now on their active roster.
Dumpster fire over there, by the way.
Yeah. Defensive line as a whole has been pretty disappointing. It has been absolutely god-awful.
We mentioned that going into the season.
Mm-hmm. Jonathan Bullard did have a couple of good run stops in the game last week.
The guy that we dislike the most make the most impact across the line.
Yeah. And, like with Dean Lowry, getting back to him again, I liked him in Green Bay, and he was, he was a solid player, but he has not done a damn thing here.
Seems like he's playing on E, to be honest with you.
He's not playing on the field, we'll put it that way.
It's relying on APAD 2K a little bit too much. Just get these plug and play players, and they're not panning out. When you plug and play somebody, they gotta pan out for it to work.
Yeah, you bring in a veteran because they're supposed to be able to just go in there and do it, and the two key.
This feeling on Hicks though is different. I think Hicks can come in here and he can make an impact immediately along the interior of that defensive line.
Yeah, and you bring him in on a 1-year deal for the rest of the season and let the chips fall where they may after that. But I'm in favor of bringing him. I hated Akeem Hicks when he played for Chicago.
Absolutely. I think we all did.
Because he killed us every time we played against him.
Every time. Stood toe-to-toe with Delvin, honestly.
Mm-hmm. But otherwise, news stuff, not a ton otherwise. Of course, the one story that absolutely refuses to die, and no, I'm not talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Colin Kaepernick this week apparently sent a letter to the New York Jets basically begging them to put him on their practice squad.
7 fucking years, Rhino. 7 years.
Yeah,
is doing
I know.
the league.
if he wants to do something and show that he can still play, which he couldn't play with in back in 2016, the last time he took a snap, go to the XFL/USFL. Of course, they're merging now, so that's going to be one league here coming this spring. Go there and prove yourself. And if you play well enough there and don't be a three-ring circus, maybe somebody will give you a chance.
Yeah, because you're running on borrowed time right now as far as the NFL career goes.
He's not even running on that. He's not getting back in the NFL right now.
No.
Davenport knew he was going to be a 0 when he picked a number. I don't know. And the part that kind of annoys me when I've seen a couple of interviews with Davenport and stuff, and he's just kind of lackadaisical, ha ha ha, la da 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 da. And I'm like, dude, you're making $13 million this year.
Right, I'm just collecting a paycheck basically.
You have played 4 freaking snaps. Get your ass back on that field and make an impact. You're not doing a damn bit of good for us standing on the sidelines in sweatpants.
No.
And it's been frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude has no self-awareness in his interviews. Dave, I agree 100% on that. He just seems like, yeah, well, what do you know? I'm working on it. We'll get there eventually. Da 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 da. Meanwhile, the Vikings season is going down the toilet, and since he is on the sidelines, we literally only have one significant pass rusher. Danielle Hunter is second in the league in sacks behind T.J. Watt, but the only other Hunter has 5. We have 6 total as a team, and that 6th one is a half a sack for Ivan Pace and half a sack for Harrison Phillips.
Right.
Good evening, Jer. Only 13 million. How can he feed his family? Spreewell. Yeah, we got Latrell Davenport right now, I think, right? But I'm getting extremely frustrated. And according to Doogie Wolfson, I saw this today. I think he said it on Score North, but there's apparently growing frustration within the building at TCO Performance about Mr. Davenport as well. So it's not just the fans that are getting frustrated with him, it's the team as well. So, and with good reason. I mean, for $13 million, we could have just as well kept Zadarius Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, at least he was on the field most of the time, even if he was dinged up. But,
you know what, Ray? A lot of things happens to us I wonder about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, and, and this isn't a rip on Kwesi, really.
It's getting close.
But when you take these reclamation projects and these guys that are coming off their first contracts that haven't really panned out, stuff like this is going to happen once in a while. You might get a guy that a change of scenery does him wonders, and he comes to a new city, a new team, everything else, and the light switch comes on and he plays well. And then you get somebody like a Marcus Davenport, or right now a Dean Lowry, guys that. Right. I mean, the only free agent signing that we've got that's doing anything is Byron Murphy.
And he's not even, honestly living up to the hype that I was expecting.
Yeah. I mean, I think Murphy's played fairly well for the most part. Hey, Justin, good evening. Doc, sometimes there's a reason high draft picks don't work out. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
I don't like the idea of fucking Allen catching 17 receptions against our defense.
No, that was terrible. That, we went against.
Yeah, we're 8th in the league against the pass. I bet we're like fucking 20-something now.
We'll get to that in just a minute. And since you brought that up, that's probably a good segue to go over into start the preview of the one of the 2 battle of the 0-3s this weekend.
They're all that played each other.
There are 4 teams left in the NFL that are 0-3: Minnesota, Carolina, and Chicago and Denver. And all 4 teams, the 2 play each other. So Jared bring this up. Says Reiser going to get some snaps.
I was going to say that next too.
Watching I didn't watch it, but I saw some clips of Kevin O'Connell's press conference from today. He said that Reisner's picked up the playbook very well. They've been playing him at both left and right guard, and sounds like he's ready to contribute. So my guess is he's going to play this week, whether he starts or not.
I think Ingram needs to finish his blocks. He gives up on his blocks, and then this guy. I mean, I swear to God, I kept a keen eye on Ingram this past weekend, and 80% of the time it was his man continuing to fight to get to the quarterback, and Ingram just letting him go.
Yeah, but yet Pro Football Focus had Ed Ingram as the third highest ranked player on the Vikings last week.
See, that makes no fucking sense. That's one.
No, it doesn't.
PFF does not make any sense.
And stuff like that is why people have a hard time buying into analytics and Pro Football Focus and that kind of stuff. I know PFF grades higher on run than they do on the pass, but Ed Ingram was awful in pass protection last week. Every time.
Why even suit Reisner up last weekend? Why? Why even suit him up?
He had like 3 snaps on special teams, I think.
Right.
Lowry was a product of Kenny Clark and Preston Smith. That is a very good point, Justin. I'm going to steal one of your points this time instead of you stealing all of my stuff. But yeah, that's a very good point. We don't have a Kenny Clark and a Preston Smith lining up next to him. That's going to.
We haven't had a true nose tackle since Linval Joseph left.
No, we
did have what's his face for a couple of seasons there.
Yeah.
Over in the Browns right now.
Right.
Delvin Tomlinson.
Yeah, but even he's not a true nose tackle. He was more a 3-4 defensive end, however you want to call it. But Raymond, whose spot's he taking? Ingram? I would say it would have to be Ingram, just for what Lance and I were just talking about. That the pass, and that's where Reisner excels is in the pass protection.
It's not out of the question to move Cleveland over to right guard in a position that he has played before and did play it well, and pop Reisner in at left guard.
Yeah,
that could absolutely work as well.
Right. And right now, I don't care who plays in what position. I just want the best 2 guards that we have out on the field, which I believe is Cleveland and Reisner. Put them in whichever position you want to put them in.
And I don't know what the hell is going on at the center position. I don't even know. Should we even plan on Bradbury even coming back this year or ever?
He practiced in limited the last 2 days. But even if he is able to play, I have no trust that his back is going to hold up.
Like I said, who's somebody that just told you my back used to be bad? No, once your back is fucking bad and you're an offensive lineman, and on top of that, not just an everyday fucking Joe Schmo, your job is to fucking block in the NFL, and if your back goes, it's not good.
I screwed my back up in 1994, and it hasn't gotten any better.
I feel like I turned 12 and I fucked my back up, and it hasn't gotten better.
Yeah. Bring back David Dixon at right guard. I think Dixon might.
Honestly, he probably would do better than what we have. I know that's being ridiculous, but seriously,
right?
That's how ridiculous it is right now.
Yeah, he wouldn't be much worse than what Ingram has been putting out on the field.
All 3 of our interior linemen are garbage.
Yep. And that's that whole, if you buy into that guards don't matter theory, you're an idiot.
Yep.
And
Davenport, or not Davenport, but Darisaw and O'Neal can't block everybody.
No. And, we talked about this when they re-signed Bradbury, and it came to fruition. The 2 questions we had is, okay, was he going to revert back to the old Bradbury once he got paid? And was that back going to hold up? And the back hasn't held up. He played, 1 quarter?
This is going back to the end of last season that this back has been an issue.
Right. Because he missed 5 games last year. Now he's missed 3 this year, or 2.5 this year. But Dixon was a full side of beef. Yes, he was. He was a big dude. Pretty good guard, too. So
yeah.
But anyway, let's kind of roll into the preview here. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, looks like Bryce Young is going to be back this week, so we get to face the rookie, which I know we historically haven't done all that well against rookies, but we've historically done god-awful against Andy Dalton, so I'm going to take my chances with Bryce Young. Flashbacks to Sully with Bradbury. Yep, we've talked about that for like
we did
3 weeks here now.
But the thing, at least Sully went on to at least have a average to above. I mean, he went through Super Bowl with the Rams, and he was starting on 7.
But yeah, with Bryce Young, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles Flores throwing 57% blitz rate against him, or what it's been the last couple weeks. I mean, if that's going to work and fluster a young quarterback, this week is the week for that to happen.
What's up with us giving up 3rd and longs? I mean, just in the history of our team, if we get like a 3rd and 18, I'm like, you know what? I would not surprised if they convert this. I would not be surprised if they convert this 3rd down with like 18 yards to go. And a lot of times they fucking do, and it pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a problem for a while.
Yeah, Josh. No, we're not rolling out the Panzer yet. I'm not a fan of tanking. We'll worry about that later. But let's roll into the tail of the tape here for this weekend's matchup and kind of see where we sit with things. Starting off on the offensive side of things, total yards, Minnesota is 4th right now. Carolina is 22nd. Scoring offense, the Vikings are sitting at 15th. Panthers are again 22nd. Passing offense, the Vikings are 2nd in the league behind only Miami. And again, Carolina is 22nd. And no, that's not, I didn't just typo the thing and put 22nd for everything. They are actually, evening GMAC. They are actually 22nd in all those. Rushing offense, though, Carolina is up to 19th there. Vikings are still 31st, but we're only like 10 yards behind getting into like the 26, 27 range. So, and then here's the big one, of course, turnovers. The Vikings have given up the ball 9 times. That's worst in the league. And Carolina has given up the ball 4 times. That is 13th in the league.
See, all these games, I mean, it was like last year when we were winning 1 score games, but every game that we've lost this year, we beat ourselves, man. We beat ourselves.
We literally should be 3-0.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of the NFL, man. We should be, but we're not.
But we're not.
We have beat ourselves. This team, the talent is there. It's when you're the second highest, when you're the second rated offense in the league, and you don't have any. I mean, I'm just bamboozled by a lot of what's going on.
Well, and we saw this last week against Chargers. Now we're getting that reputation as a team that can't hold on to the football. So the defenders are going in there and ripping the ball and everything else, like what happened with that first turnover where Hawkinson got the ball ripped away from him.
And it's drives like that just fucking grind at me. You're driving, you're looking good, you pass it into Hawkinson, and the guy comes and that's like some high school fumble shit right there, coming in and just grabbing it out of your arms.
I said, and they need to go back to that high school thing and have these guys carrying the football around in their arm.
It's the first thing you teach when you start learning about football. Ball security.
Yep. And if somebody knocks that ball out of your hand when you're walking around the training complex, you drop down, you give us 100 push-ups.
Yep.
You got to get that ball security figured out because we aren't going to win any games turning the ball over 3-4 times a game.
And a lot of times these fumbles are coming at the worst fucking possible time on a drive. I mean, they're never.
Well, yeah, every damn one of them is down in the red zone, it seems like.
Right. Yeah. The fumbles are never good, but it seems like this year especially, these fumbles are happening on drives that we're like, all right, we're going to get going, and then all of a sudden, boom, fumble. Like, we got a drive going, and then, like, get down in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, at least 4 or 5 of those have been inside the 10-yard line.
And as much as we have in the past ranted and raved about Kirk, it's come to a point where none of this this has nothing to do with Kirk. You know, yeah, there's been some plays where he could get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, have a little bit more awareness in the pocket. But when you got 2 fucking seconds to drop back and throw,
I mean, I'm not letting Kirk off the hook completely because as we got into that whole Chinese fire drill thing that we had at the end of the halves last week where we should have spiked the ball and we didn't. And, okay, I know, the fans and the stadium need to shut the hell up when the offense has the ball. That's football 101. I mean, everybody knows that. You're loud as hell on defense. You shut the hell up when you're on offense. But, and this is the one thing that keeps Kirk Cousins from becoming an elite quarterback because physically, talent-wise, he is an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's in here when he gets inside his head, and the comment he made after the game last week, and I talked about this on Monday, I just wanted to bring it up being I got you on here now, that, oh yeah, I have the freedom to call my own play or whatever, but then I have to deal with the consequences afterwards. Is he still got that much PTSD from Mike Zimmer that he is so scared to do something on his own that he couldn't call a spike? Again, that's rudimentary football 101. You're down there. You don't have any timeouts. It was first down. We would have saved 25 seconds by spiking that ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get set, get your play figured out. We were in a rush. That was part of the problem. Yes, Hawkinson should have held onto that ball again. Would he have scored or not? I'm not sure he would have been across the line. But so taking the spike out of it, if he'd have been short there, we probably wouldn't have had enough time to go back, or barely had enough time to go up there and do it again. So, but that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't know if you have any other opinions on it before we move on to the defensive side of things, but
no. Got
to be quiet when we roll in. Yeah. Speaking of crowd noise, it was nice hearing Lambeau quiet last night. Absolutely, Jer.
I'm gonna go off on that crowd noise thing here. We don't fucking have home field advantage here in Minnesota. I don't care the fans out there listening. Our record at home is sad compared to what it was when we were at the Dome. I don't understand. What is our deal? We can't defend our own fucking stadium. There's teams out there that haven't lost in their fucking stadiums for years.
Yeah. And we're 0-2 this year, and we lost.
We can't establish our own stadium, our own home field, and win games at home.
Yeah.
And we never have since we've been in this building. We lost playoff games at home. It's fucking irritating.
Yeah. I know.
As a fan.
Yeah, the underlying problems with this team lie just beyond the surface. There's a deeper concern. Part of that's in the whole rebuild thing. And before we move on to the defense, I just want to say this to all the fans out there on social media, wherever all else, that are calling for O'Connell and Kwesi's heads right now.
It's too early.
We gave Rick Spielman 16 years. We gave Mike Zimmer, 8, 9?
Yeah.
And now you want to turn around, and the last 3 years at least of the Spielman Zimmer regime were absolute dog shit and put us in the situation where we're in right now. We have to give
going through 16 different fucking coaches in 13 fucking seasons, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we have to give Kwesi and O'Connell time to turn the ship around.
Due time, yes.
I mean,
it's hard. I understand.
They're both signed to 4 years. If after 4 years we haven't turned it around and we're still in the same spot, yeah, then explore other options. But you got to give these guys time to fix the problems. Yeah, 2022.
A lot of it's just the fans getting just pissed because we don't have any fucking championships here.
But I mean, and I'm as pissed as anybody that this team's been around for 62 years and we don't have a championship. But we also knew going into this that there was going to be a real rebuild process and that stuff was going to get painful at particular points, especially when you have to let go of players and things like that.
We're at that point, yes.
Yeah. So the key is we have to ride this out for, a year or two. We're probably not
more the season until we're mathematically fucking eliminated from the playoffs.
Right. Well, look at last year. Detroit started out 1-7, and they were they damn near squeaked in as a wild card.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I don't give up until we are mathematically eliminated. I was talking to Reggie the other day. Y'all know Reggie that's been watching the show. I don't close the door on the team before they get eliminated mathematically from the playoffs. Now it's not about winning the division. It's about going out and getting a fucking playoff spot. In my opinion, don't even worry about the division. Worry about going out and securing a postseason spot.
Well, and as far as the division goes, we take care of business against the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions, and the division takes care of itself.
Right.
But anyway, we got off on a tangent there a little bit, but
we'll move on. We're 0-3. It's getting to the point where you just got to worry about making it beyond the regular season.
We just need to worry about getting win number 1 first. Let's get that, and then we'll worry about win number 2 and going forward after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to tail of the tape on the defensive side of things. Total yards, Carolina is 12th. Vikings are 26th after they gave up, 450 yards passing last week.
Bring up Doc's comment there.
Many teams have had 3-game losing streaks. Everybody's freaking out because it's the first 3 games. That's true. And the national media likes to make a big thing of this. Oh, teams that start 0-3, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Realistically, a 3-game losing streak at any point in time in the season it's irrelevant when it happens. We could lose the first 3. We could go out and win the next 14 and still finish 14-3.
Bingo.
We could lose the first.
That's going to happen, but that would be great.
No, but I'm just saying we could lose the first 3. We could win the next 6. We could lose another. It's good point. But what does mediocrity do for a team? I agree, Josh. I'm sick of the mediocrity and just good enough is good enough kind of thing. Justin, great comment here. In some ways, going 13-4 was a curse that killed the honeymoon period for Kwesi and KOC. I agree with that 100%.
Ooh, GMAC with the little,
He never lost 4 in a row with Cousins. Well, let's hope that stat there holds true on Sunday.
All right, Rhino. Continue along.
Back to the defensive tail of the tape. Okay, we did total yards. Carolina 12th, Vikings 26th. Scoring defense. Carolina is 23rd. The Vikings are 24th in points given up. Passing, Carolina is actually 9th against the pass. We're 23rd.
Yeah, apparently Los Angeles was the worst, and we didn't. It was underwhelming.
Right. Which means we're going to throw for 500 yards this week, probably.
Exactly. That's just the Viking way.
Right. Rushing defense, the Vikings are actually up to 19th, mainly because the Chargers did not even try to run the ball last week.
Yeah.
Carolina is 27th against the run, so that potentially does give us an opportunity. Cam Akers will play this week, so we get to see what he can do.
And this is one of those situations where maybe the light will turn on for Cam Akers. Like you said, you bring these guys in that haven't really shined in their prior spots. Cam Akers, this is your time to go back and, make a name for yourself. Show what you got.
And honestly, last week, if Madison had held on to the ball, he had a pretty good game otherwise.
He did.
And we had I think he was
and he played hard. And you know what? They kept going back to him, and I like that because I had a feeling that was just Kevin O'Connell saying, "Here, we're going to go back to you. We're going to go back to you." That first drive, I think we ran every fucking play. We ran it down their throats until we threw that pick to Hawkinson.
Today, Junior.
Absolutely, G-Mac. This is as close to a get-right game as we've had, and this is DEFCON 5 for sure.
No, DEFCON 5 is the lowest. 1's the highest.
Okay. Well,
Madison going for 100 and no effing fumbles. I would love to see that. Ty Chandler and his, he didn't get a lot of snaps last week, but when he did, he was effective. I think he had like 3 for 38 or something like that.
He has been, and that's what mind-boggling too. Every time Chandler's been in there, it's been effective. And you know what? I seen a hell of a blitz pick up by Chandler this last weekend. Saved Kirk Cousins' ass.
Yeah.
Because he nutted up and fucking blocked his guy coming in on a blitz hard.
Last thing on tail of the takeaways, the Vikings are 26th in the league. Carolina is 29th. Doc, we got this. The puppy will bring us good luck. You're going to have to give it or name it something Vikings related, Doc, just to kind of break the curse here. Depending upon what it is, I don't know, Odin, Thor, Loki. Right. I've got a Loki, but something to break the curse. We have to figure something out. But that's basically the tail of the tape. You got anything else, hot button or hot takes or anything else about this upcoming game that you want to hit before we start our prediction section?
No, let's keep rolling.
Nordic name, hell yeah. Bud. Bud would be another good one. Freya. If it's a female, sure. Valkyrie. Is Kirk O'Chain's Nordic? I don't think that's exactly a Nordic name, Jared, but what? To each their own. Anyway, so let's roll into our predictions section. Of course, this year we decided we're going to do with the NFC North as a whole every week when we do our picks. Of course, last night Detroit went into Lambeau Field and stomped a mud hole in Green Bay and pretty much walked it dry. I mean, Detroit winning doesn't really help us out much, but I think I would rather see Detroit go to 2-1 than Green Bay go to 2-1, because seeing the faces on a lot of the Packer fans, any Packer players late in that game was priceless. It was Milwaukee County Stadium, here we come to play 4 games a year again type looking on that.
Green Bay is a mirage, I believe, and they're going to lose a lot of games this season, whereas I feel like we can still turn it around and get it together.
Yeah. No, and I've mentioned this before. We don't want Green Bay to lose too many games because we don't want them to get into the Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes and whatever else if they realize Jordan Love sucks. But Jordan Love sucked last night.
Well,
he looked. I mean, I turned it off like in the third quarter, but
he's not Aaron Rodgers and he's not Brett Favre, and you can tell by watching him play.
No, he's more Lynn Dickey.
Yeah, or what's his name, the Magic Man,
Don Mikowski. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would rather see Detroit win a Super Bowl than see Green Bay win the division. Detroit's won a championship already. I don't want
Detroit to win a Super Bowl before we fucking win a Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, if we had won one and Detroit went into the playoffs and then they went and won one, then yes, I would be happy for Detroit. But for them to go and win one before we do, it would really fucking chat my ass.
Yeah. I said Detroit as a team does have championships back in the old days prior to the Super Bowl era. But I don't want to. They're one of the handful of teams who have not won a Super Bowl. I don't want to see any team that has not won a Super Bowl win one before we do.
I will say this: Detroit is the team that I hate the least in our division.
Yeah. And mainly because for decades we felt more pity for Detroit than hatred.
Yeah.
Green Bay always is the number one hatred. And Chicago is second.
Yeah, and then that's exactly how it goes. You know, Detroit, Chicago.
And Detroit, Detroit.
You hate the worst.
Detroit's that little kid down the block that gets picked on all the time that you just feel sorry for because, kind of thing. But
pretty much, yeah, that's a good analogy.
But now this year so far, at least so far, the little kid's growing up and able to take care of himself. So
and you're almost at the point where you're like, oh, I'm proud of you. But at the same time, you're like, I still need to take care of business.
Yeah, no, I'm not proud. I'm not. I mean, I like what the meathead, the kneecap biter's doing over there. I mean, he's a bonehead. He's proven
and he lets
that.
his balls hang out at times, and sometimes it's stupid, but sometimes it's smart, And there's coaches that he's gotten away with it,
Yeah, I mean, he's got the Randy Marsh toting the wheelbarrow down the sidewalk, singing Buffalo Soldier thing or whatever, But
coming to America.
Yeah. I mean, Detroit's buying into it. That's the key thing. It doesn't matter how stupid it is, as long as the team buys into it.
Especially when you get your fan base to buy into it, and then it's
the only thing I have to say about Detroit, and this has nothing to do with the team, it's the fan base. All of a sudden, the fan base is starting to act like they've been good for decades.
Yeah. And you know what though? That offensive line is where it all starts there in Detroit.
Oh yeah.
That offensive line is where it all starts in Detroit. When you get 8 seconds to find somebody open, man. Yes, he does.
Absolutely, Doc. But yeah.
And not overthink it at the same time, honestly.
And that's a problem. I think O'Connell sometimes gets into that too much gentlemanly type stuff. And you got to have a killer instinct. You got to be brutal. You got to go out there, put your boot on the guy's neck and press down.
Mike McFucking-Daniel, way to fucking coach a game this last weekend. No mercy, and I love it. That's what I want in a head coach. You go out and you score. You go out and you score. You go out and you score, and you don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. People can bitch about racking up points and shit. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I want to embarrass other teams.
We interviewed Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, we did. I know, and he was on the top. He was one of the ones that was on the top of my list.
Yeah, he was at or near the top of my list too. I know. Of course, so was O'Connell.
Assassin. I made a meme about it. You can go back to our page and go way back and look. It's there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Thadir. Good evening. Yeah, McDaniel?
Cobra Kai on their ass, Doc. Yes,
absolutely.
Sweep the fucking leg every game.
But yeah, what McDaniel's doing down in Miami down there is nothing short of impressive. I mean,
and it does not surprise me because I seen it last year before Tua went down. They were looking nasty, and now that Tua is staying healthy,
and he's turned Tua into a quarterback I never thought Tua could be.
That potential's always been there, but he made Tua into what he is.
Yeah.
The best thing that could have happened for Tua is getting somebody like Mike McDaniel to come in there and push him to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Tua used to be the running gag of the league, and now we're talking about Tua as an MVP.
G-Mac here, that was the one saving grace from last weekend. No matter how shitty the Vikings game ended up being or whatever, the fact that Sean Payton got 70 points hung on his ass made the weekend worth it.
I seen that meme where it said like the score was so high that Mike McDaniel was up in the stands in the second half letting fans call plays.
I mean, somebody put, one of the pundits or whatever had made a comment that was bad for the game of football and what people
it's not.
No, it wasn't. If you don't want to get 70 hung on you, then stop their asses. I seem to remember a couple years ago at Christmas time where Sean Payton put Alvin Kamara back in the freaking game so he could get the 6th rushing touchdown against the Vikings.
Right. Sniff that shit, Payton. Sniff it.
Yeah. Sean Payton can.
How can high scoring be worse for the league? That doesn't make sense to me. And that just fuels the fire to other teams to go and beat Miami.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I like McDaniel.
Peyton getting smoked in the former Vikings reporter. Yes, Chris Tomlinson is now doing God's work, annoying Sean Payton on a daily basis like he used to do to Mike Zimmer every day. So Chris Tomlinson, keep up the good work out there in Denver, and don't ever let up doing what you do, because you are truly a national treasure.
If you're good, let it hang out, man. Honestly, if your team is that good to fucking hang up 70, you go out and do it, and then you put the league on notice. And you know what? Miami did exactly that.
Yep. All right. So since we've been talking about the Broncos here, let's roll into the second of 3 games concerning the NFL or the NFC North this week, where the 0-3 Broncos limp into Soldier Field to take on the 0-3 Bears in the "what the fuck are we doing" bowl.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen in this game?
A lot of nothing. Yeah, a lot of hot potato maybe. I don't know. I think the Bears could easily as beat the Broncos as the Broncos could easily beat the Bears. It could go either way.
Or it could end up in a 0-0 tie.
Right.
This is one of those games that is either going to be such an absolute train wreck that's going to be painful to watch, or it's going to turn around. It's going to be one of the better games of the freaking season so far.
Right. You know what, though? I think Eberflus, he's going to be the first one to get canned this year.
I mean, he's the one calling
the dumpster fire down there in Chicago. There's so much going on down there. It's ridiculous this year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's calling the defense. And then, of course, they brought in their offensive coordinator. I forget what the hell his name is, but trying to install a West Coast offense with a quarterback who has come out and admittedly said that there's too much stuff going on in the headset and he can't figure shit out on the field. Fire. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I think Denver probably wins this game. It would not surprise me to see it go the other way, but I think at least Russell Wilson, even though he's a shell of the former player he once was, Russ at least still has enough mental capacity to be able to figure stuff out. Whereas the Bears, I don't have any idea if they even know what the hell they're doing. So
they fucked themselves with that Chase Claypool. That's starting to unravel down there too.
Well, and Claypool was a good wide receiver when he was in Pittsburgh, and now when he gets over here, DJ Moore has been almost non-existent.
Yep.
You know, so I'm picking Denver in this game.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it could go either way. Yeah. It could go either way. I'll go with Denver too, just because they're playing the Bears. But like I said, the Bears could easily beat Denver too.
It's probably going to be like a 17-9 or something like that. It's going to be a low-scoring game, I think. But yeah, I'll take Denver in this one. Then that leads us to, of course, the game of the week. We are sitting at DEFCON 2. The Vikings and the Carolina Panthers. So I will give you this one first. Hey, Nick, good evening. Lance, give us your opinion on what's going to happen, what we need to see, and whatnot in this Vikings-Panthers game.
Was it G-Mac that said if there ever was a get-right game, this would be it? I think it might have been him. If not, it was Doc. But that's 100% true. If we're going to do anything this year, it comes down to this week. You know, it came down to last week. I said we're going to win, and then we went and we lost. We went and we beat ourselves again. For the third week in a row, we went and beat ourselves.
They took that game and they went like this. Here, take it, with that stupid fourth down call.
The last 5 minutes of the game were the worst parts of the game. The Chargers were begging us to beat them.
Yeah.
We had an opportunity. We wasted it. We got granted another opportunity to take it, and we wasted it. If there's a time that we need to get right and we need to get back on track, it's this weekend against a team that we should beat handedly. Yeah. I don't care how we do it. I don't care.
I don't either. I mean, for me, like I mentioned earlier, I think Flores with his exotic blitz schemes and that kind of stuff should be able to make things difficult for Bryce Young, provided we can actually get home on some of that pressure. That was the problem last week. We were pressuring the shit out of Justin Herbert. We just weren't getting home because the only guy we've got on our team that can actually hit the quarterback is Danielle Hunter.
And you know that interior pressure is really underlooked, I believe, that from the defensive tackle position, that immediate pressure up the middle, that we never get that, ever.
And that's a problem. And maybe it's the point of giving Ja'Kalen Roy some more snaps to see what he can do up there, because Kiris Tonga has been a big disappointment for me this year. I was really my hopes were really high on him.
Yeah, mine too.
Coming into the season. I thought he was going to take that next step and be
that number one guy,
that nose tackle that we've been looking for. And to this point, he hasn't been that way.
Nobody has lived up to the hype other than Hunter. I mean, there's a lot of
in the front seven. I mean, well, up in the front end, Hunter, yes. The guys up in the front three, no. Whoever's been lining up on the opposite side of Hunter, whether it's Wanham, whether it's Pat Jones, neither one of them
not playing things starting to ring like alarms in my brain too. What the fuck?
Well, but to be fair, I was just going to bring this comment up. Our two linebackers have played pretty well. Jordan Hicks has played quite well this year.
Much better than last year. I mean,
yeah,
he had a decent year last year, but he's playing better this year against the
and of course, Ivan Pace has been playing pretty much lights out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still holding fast on my thought that he could be Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. That was one of my hot takes going into the season, is that he will be Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Now, Andre Carter last week finally got some playing time. I think he played 13 snaps and he had 3 pressures in those 13 snaps, so that's promising. But like I said, DJ Wanham has been pretty much non-existent.
It's nice seeing Addison. Speaking of just the team in general, Addison getting more targets too on offense and hauling in some balls. That dynamic between him and Jefferson is starting to take shape right before our eyes.
Yeah, although we do need to give credit where credit was due. That touchdown catch that KJ Osborne had.
That should have fucking made the pot boil over, I thought. Okay, this is where this all work's going to start. KJ fucking kicked it into gear. And he has a penchant for making those type of plays.
Yep, Nick makes a point here. Carter plays, but Cine can't sniff the field. It's gotten so bad for Lewis Cine that the Vikings forgot to put him on the injury report on Wednesday.
Yeah, I was never a fan of the pick, to be honest with you. I remember when we picked him, I was like, why? I did not like that pick.
No, we should. Again, you can't go back, but you know, we talked about this when that pick happened. Kyle Hamilton was sitting there, and Kyle Hamilton's been lighting it up.
Yeah,
for the Ravens. We could have had him out there now. Again, woulda, coulda, shoulda, just like I forget if it was Nick or whoever it was said earlier, Jared maybe. Yeah. But the woulda, coulda, shouldas are what they are. Kwesi's 2022 draft has been absolute horseshit so far. But, you know, this year, the draft this year seems considerably better.
It could make up for it.
Yeah. So, and maybe something still happens with Booth, Cine, those guys. I still think Asamoah has a future on this team. It's just right now the two guys in front of him are playing quite well, so he's not seeing the field as a lot. A couple of the dominant big guys could be free agent next season, but I doubt we'll be able to pay up. We do have a considerable amount of cap space next year. One guy I am looking at who is a free agent is Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence, yeah. Is Payne a free agent next year, or did he get paid?
Deron Payne. I don't know if he is or not.
But he's a hell of a player.
But I know Lawrence is, and can the Giants afford to pay him? I don't know. If not, we need to be in on him, regardless of what happens between.
Something that we need to address for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, back to prediction part of things here. I've been picking it all season. The Vikings have got to turn it around. at some point in time. And this week, if we don't do it this week, it's probably going to be a couple weeks before we get a shot at it because we got Kansas City next week. So,
right. If there's any time to do it, this week is it.
Yep. So I think we go into Carolina. It's probably going to be another close game. It's going to be probably a 1-score game. But I think we go in there and we finally get a win on the board this week.
You go and say that, and now watch. We're going to go in there, and it's going to be like a fucking – we're just going to blow them up.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, man.
I don't care if it's a 1-point win or a 20-point win, as long as we walk out of Carolina with a win.
Yeah. We need to flip the script.
Yeah, because if we do lose this weekend, then yes, I am about ready to say the season is over.
I won't until they're mathematically eliminated, but I mean, like you said, we could finish the season 13-4. You know, we lose this weekend.
There is that too, but the odds of going on a 13-0 run aren't that great. But
get to 11 wins. That's all I'm saying. Just worry about getting to 11 wins. But worry about winning this game coming up this week.
Yeah, let's start with one win. We have to win this week, and then we got a hell of a task next week. It's going to help that the Chiefs are going to be at, U.S. Bank, but we'll talk about the Chiefs next week.
Let's just beat Carolina this weekend, and then we'll get to next week.
Yep. But anyway, we've been going on for damn near an hour here. You got anything else you want to hit there, Lance?
Last comments?
Any last comments from you guys in the chat room there? Lance, you got anything else you want to hit before we close her out for the night?
We just what I told you before the show. We need to start winning, and we need to do it start this weekend. If we want to have any hope at a postseason, we need to start winning now. It's urgent.
Doc, good point. Wins build confidence. Is going to snowball after this week. We sneak a win against the Chiefs, and we're rolling.
Exact 100%, Doc.
Yep.
Yes.
If we can be through 5 games and be
get back to 500, and it's all a new ball game, especially this early in the season.
Yeah. If we can be 2-3 after 5, not ideal, but we kind of I pegged us as 3-2 after 5. So if we're 2-3, we're not that far off.
And our schedule gets softer as the year goes on. You know. So
yeah, the Chiefs are the last.
Is the peak really of the?
I mean, granted, we get Cincinnati in December. We have to go there, and by then they're probably going to have stuff figured out. But
like we said, let's win this weekend. Let's win this weekend and move forward.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We can't be looking ahead at anybody else right now. We got to look just all of our focus on Carolina and going into their house and getting a win this weekend and coming back home next week at 1-3.
Frustrate feeling.
Yep. Maybe our buddy Mayor Smith Marset will gift us another turnover this week. But anyway, with that, again, thank you guys all for joining us. If you haven't done so, please hit that like on the way out. We've got 13 people watching right now. No likes. So hit that like button out there, guys. It helps.
Hit the like button, guys.
Yeah, it helps. It helps the metrics out on YouTube big time if you hit the like button just as you come in, go out, whatever. Anybody who has not, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, also do that while you're at it. But with that, again, let's go into Carolina. Let's get a damn win. Get this ship righted up, patch the holes in the boat, and work on fixing the things that need to be fixed. And let's keep this season going and make it interesting, because if we lose this weekend, it's going to be a very long damn season. So with that, why don't you take us out of here, Lance?
I agree with everything he just said. He wrapped it up really well again this week. We're live. I ain't got much for you guys this week. So with that being said, let's go get that win this weekend. Let's get to 1-3. And let's start chopping away at that wood.
Absolutely.
Aubrey, Millie, if you're watching, Dad loves and misses you guys.
All right.
Let's go.
You guys have a good weekend.